Hello and welcome back. It's time for more Super League, and I am now joined by Reed Duke. Welcome, Reed.
Hey, thanks. How's it going,
And that
everybody?
was a spectacular match of Magic you just played.
Yeah, that was something else.
Yeah, tell us about it from your perspective. I mean, Game 3, obviously, I presume you didn't really get to see the mulligans. You were mulliganing for victory condition, presumably, trying to be pretty aggressive to try to win on clock without having your clock die, or were they
Yeah,
just terrible
like
draws?
realistically speaking, I had no chance to win game three. My opening hand was just like a bunch of reactive spells, and I was like, all right, I'll mulligan and try to just play turn five Dragon Lord Ojutai or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
realistically, that was not a game that I had any chance in.
Now, tell me about the first game. We had you written off. Like, you came back to win that first game at a point where, I mean, did you have you written off in the
Yeah,
first
well,
game?
talk about backs and forths. I thought I had Owen kind of on the ropes early on. I resolved the first dig through time, and
Right.
generally, I think the matchup's pretty good for me. And once it gets to turn 8 and 9, if I'm not dead basically to the double Mantis Rider draw, I feel pretty good, especially about game one in that matchup. So I thought I was going to win for a while, but then when Owen landed the Sarkin, that was really problematic, and I knew I was going to have to go low on life before I could ever make a comeback, and that's just a risky proposition against Jeskai with so much burn and so many ways to recur the burn spells and everything like that. There were definitely a few turns in there where if Owen had a good draw step, I was done for.
Yeah, but I mean, I liked the one cheeky little attack with the shambling net to make sure you didn't go below 2. That made a ton of sense.
Yeah, yeah, Shambling Vent was the MVP of that game, and I thought it was going to be in game two as well if things had just worked out a little bit differently. But
Oh my
yeah,
god,
that
that
game,
game 2 was intense. Now,
yeah.
go ahead. You once again did not die to the double Mantis Rider draw out of the gates.
Yeah, Owen played very carefully, reactively. He was able to see my hand early with the duress, I think, and just sat back on those double disdainful strokes. But usually with my deck, if my opponent's content to do nothing, I'm content to do nothing as well. You saw me get the Mage Ring network up high enough to cast two Ugins in the same turn.
And have
Uh,
Scatter to the Winds back up.
yeah, yeah. I would say the key moment of that game was after sort of the dust had settled with the two Ugins. Owen landed a Tassiger and activated it, and I had to choose what card to give him back.
Right.
I decided to give him back Utter End based on my hand at the time, and I was just gonna have to be on the plan of letting my Ugin die and having to win like with the Jace Ultimate or the Shambling Vent or something like that. Uh, but I was gonna have to draw probably another dig through time for that to work, and it wasn't to be, I guess.
Yeah, no, that Shambling Vent came close. I mean, the Shambling Vent effectively got him literally to 1. Right?
Yeah,
He's at 3, and he's got a Soulfire Grandmaster. I mean, you chose to play defense, so technically he never fell below 3. But I mean, effectively, you attack there. He's in chump block, but he's not going to chump block. He's going to attack back, and he's sort of at this perpetual 3-1, 3-1. It was so close.
yeah, yeah. You're telling me.
Sorry, I don't mean to rub it in, but I was
No,
curious.
not at all, not at all. It was. I mean, we're here to have fun, right? And that was that was certainly a fun match.
It was a fun match. All right, now we
So what
turn
do we
our
got coming
attention.
up?
Tom Martell, Kenji Egashira. Now, these guys have been talking a little bit on Twitter, and essentially, they both claim that they can't possibly win. Tom says
Against
he
one
hasn't won
another?
a match in months. Kenji's the
Hmm.
guy who's like, look, I'm not even a Pro Tour player. How can I possibly win? So both players claim they can't possibly win. Both players are running Dark Jeskai lists. I think they may have actually just copied Owen's version of the list. I really thought you had the metagame nailed because your Esper deck lines up well against Jeskai, right? I mean,
It
isn't that all
does,
playing Esper?
but I mean the games are always long and complicated, and being up against one of the best players in the world in a blue counterspell mirror, it would be, I think, foolish to say that I was definitely going to win or anything like that. So I was hoping for the best, but I'm not surprised that to lose a close one to Owen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you can lose to Owen with, I mean, whatever. You can have a hand sandwich.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? In general, though, if people are trying to say, you know what, I think everyone's going to play Dark Jeskai at, game day or Friday Night Magic or whatever, do you recommend the Esper control list?
Yeah, yeah, certainly. as you saw, finishing your matches on time can be an issue. Like if you play a long game and lose, then it can be tough to win two really quickly. But
Okay.
if you're comfortable playing control decks, you're comfortable playing fast, and you think there's going to be a lot of Jeskai and other mid-range decks, definitely, yeah, go for the Esper deck.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I certainly liked the look of it at the Pro Tour, and I mean, congratulations on a good Pro Tour run for you too.
Thank you. Yeah, I was happy.
I'm sure it didn't feel good to lose a win in it for top 8 in the last round, but I mean, I also kind of had the impression that you felt okay, you didn't think you were going to get it at X4 anyway.
Yeah, I mean, to make top 8 of a Pro Tour at 12-4 is kind of like it's like a special opportunity. Like if you want to make the top 8 of a Pro Tour, which obviously I do and everyone does, you just gotta have an even better record than that and not even leave it up to chance. So it would have been one of the most fortunate things of my life if I had made the top 8 at 12-4, but I wasn't like counting on it or anything. I wasn't disappointed when it didn't happen.
Now, did you change anything about your deck from the Pro Tour to today?
I added a Silumgar's command, which actually ended up being really good in that game 1 against Owen.
It was insanely good in that game 1. Okay.
Yeah, if there's one weakness of the Esper deck, it's resolved Planeswalkers, and specifically Gideon. Everyone at the Pro Tour had 4 Gideons in their main deck, and that was the main thing that was giving me trouble. So Silumgar's command, though it's a little bit expensive, it can at least 1-for-1 a Gideon, at no loss, and it has some other cool utility.
Makes sense. All right, well, I think we are now ready for round number 2. Let's get down to the action and find out whether Tom Martell or Kenji Egashira can claim the seat across from Owen in the next round. Here we go. What do you think of these hands, Reed?
Ooh, well, Kenji has lots of good spells, but not exactly the mana to cast them. He's 2 lands off for being able to cast that Mantis Rider, but it's probably a hand worth keeping anyway. I mean, he has 2 defensive spells that he can cast, and his hand's just incredible if he does draw blue mana. And it looks like Tom has mulliganed to a good 6-card hand, so we should have a game.
You keep Kenji's hand?
I would, yeah.
The basic swamp is, I mean, you probably have to have it in these lists, right?
Yeah, and you know what? The good news about having the basic swamp is when you draw your 3rd land, it's going to be good no matter what. It's coming into play untapped. It's going to be, getting you closer to what you need. Really, he doesn't need to cast a Mantis Rider for this hand to be really great. If he can just get Jace into play in a timely manner, then he's going to fill his graveyard. He's going to get Tassiger going. He'll be okay. So actually, to get back to something you mentioned earlier, Randy, I had taken a brief look at their deck list. It looked like Tom had copied John and Owen's list from the Pro Tour, and Kenji was just a couple cards different. I think he had his Duresses in the main deck.
Yeah, I did see multiple main decks. Kenji does have 2 copies of Duress in his main, which feels like the kind of change you would make for this field, honestly.
Yeah, it's quite good in the Jeskai mirror. I mean, it's all about the commands and getting a well-placed counterspell and stuff. And also, in my opinion, just having the information, being able to know what's in your opponent's hand and line everything up properly is huge in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm trying to see what he took out. Looks like he's got 2 Tassigers instead of 3. And can't tell.
Did he have a 3rd dig through time or anything like that?
Kenji's on 2 digs.
2 digs, okay. So just 1 less delve spell then.
He's on 3 Crackling Doom. He's down a Tassiger and a Crackling Doom, but he's got 2 Duresses instead. Makes sense?
Yep.
All right, well, Kenji's lands have kind of cooperated.
Yeah, still no white mana.
No,
there we go. Yeah.
Now, do you need to kill Jace, or do you want to stick a Mantis Rider?
I would always err on the side of killing Jace at the first opportunity, especially Tom has taken a mulligan this game, so Kenji just kind of wants to maintain his advantage and make sure things don't get out of control. But I guess he decides to go for the Mantis Rider with part of that being like, in the worst case scenario where Jace can flip quickly, at least Mantis Rider's there to pressure it. And so nothing too terrible can happen.
Yeah, Tom's going to get a loot out of this. I guess even cracking a fetch land wasn't going to get Tom to 5. You'd have to have kind of a spell, a fetch land, and a loot.
Yeah. Given Tom's mulligan, I would be inclined to just go like Kolaghan's Command, kill Jace, make you discard. Not that that's a play I would normally make, but just, given that Tom's a little bit down on resources, pressure him in any way that you can.
And Tom does the normal trick of putting Dragon Master Outcast in graveyard, where he can come back later thanks to
Yeah, where it's almost like safer in the graveyard than any other zone with this deck.
And Tom does have a Tasigur.
All right, so now Kenji's got answers to everything, but he's in a position where he has to pick and choose like what order to play things in. He can't obviously play Utter End and another spell on the same turn.
Right.
What do you think his priority is here? Does he want to get rid of the Jace or the Tasigur first?
I mean, the fact that Jace is about to flip, I think, means Jace.
Well, keep in mind Tom had to delve away a few cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Kenji's right here to get rid of the Jace. Yeah, one less thing to worry about and keep him from filling his graveyard, keep him from getting those loots. And what about from Tom's side? Is he going to try to fire off the Ojutai's Command right away, or is he content to just use Tasigur?
I mean, I think you sit on Ojutai's Command plus Tasigur mana, and then activate Tasigur on Kenji's end step, right?
Yeah, I mean, certainly anything he does will be on the end step, but... and yeah, I think you're right that he just wants to activate the Tasigur. The cards in his graveyard are not super exciting. Like getting back another... just a creature that dies to a fiery impulse. But yeah, they are still spells. And free spells are good spells.
Those are the best kind, huh? Tasigur gets to attack.
Tom will have to find an answer to this Mantis Rider if he wants to win this game, though. He's on a clock that he really can't do that much about. Ojutai's Command can buy him some time, but Mantis Rider is...
But now, interestingly, so Kenji's mana will let him do Utter End and then Tasigur. That's got to be the line, right? But I mean, you are also feeding this Tasigur to an Ojutai's Command. If he Utter Ends first, Tom might tap out to activate, and then you can stick a Tasigur through without risking Ojutai's Command.
If Kenji knew Tom's hand, he would be pretty happy to Utter End the Tasigur and hold up Fiery Impulse. But I guess what he could have done this turn is just Utter End right away and see if Tom taps his mana to use the Tasigur in response.
You can still do that second main, right?
Yeah, it looks like he's either intentionally or unintentionally clicked through to his own end step here.
Oh, okay.
So Tom's thinking about what to do now.
Yeah, so he's waiting to Utter End as a response to Tasigur.
Yeah, that makes sense given the 2 main deck dispels and the fact that Tom only has exactly 2 mana. 2 blue mana, rather.
Right, so Tom cannot, in fact, leave up Dispel if he wants to activate Tasigur. There you go. There is... And Tom goes for Ojutai's Command instead of activating Tasigur.
Yeah, I guess he just figures he's behind and needs to deploy his cards more quickly, to try to find an answer.
This is just great for Kenji, though, right? He gets to Utter End the Tasigur, and he gets to Fiery Impulse the Jace.
Yeah, it is great for Kenji. If Tom doesn't have a good... I guess Tom has 2 draw steps between the command and his turn, and if they are not good, the game's going to be pretty much over.
Hopefully Kenji has a stop set on his own end step. Yeah, he does. Kill the Jace before Tom can untap. Wow.
Kenji, as a seasoned Magic Online player, he's not going to make an error like that.
He knows when you need to stop set on your own end step, I guess. That's the one I always miss. By far the one I miss the most when I want to do something in my own end step.
So I actually wouldn't be surprised to see Tom just delve everything and get an activation off the Tasigur, because the cards that he's seen so far do not save him from Mantis Rider, so maybe he just wants a fresh look.
Yeah, he's kind of lucky to find a second Tasigur here. Right? It is a second Tasigur. Yeah. And you think leave up Tasigur instead of playing Soulfire? Yeah, that was your line. That's what Tom has done.
I think so. The Soulfire it doesn't do that much until Tom finds an answer to the Mantis Rider, because it can't attack and he doesn't have any burn spells in his hand. So I would go with Tom's play here. It uses your mana more effectively and it just digs you to, towards the answer that you really need to find. Kenji picked up a Dig Through Time, which I think is going to more or less put the nail in the coffin here. He was already ahead and getting his pick of 2 more spells, unless they're real bad or Tom has a series of good draw steps, will probably be enough for Kenji to win.
Crackling Doom, Outcast, Mantis Rider. And a Jace, I think.
Well, Crackling Doom's the big one here.
Yeah. No Jace, sorry. But Crackling Doom Dragon Master Outcast seems quite the dig. He can even play both of them, can't he? Well, fan favorite, Numot the Nummy may actually go up a game here. Tom continues his self-proclaimed streak of not winning a game. Here's the Tasigur activation. Can Tom hit something exciting?
Ooh, Kolaghan's Command.
His command, not bad.
Yeah, not
Once
bad.
Again, Kenji with the stop on his own end step to Crackling Doom, right?
Yep. So the Soulfire Grandmaster will it has the option to have a relevant effect on the game here if Tom just goes Soulfire and Kolaghan's Command the Outcast. It gets him up to 6, which is not a great number to be at, but it is better than 4.
Sure. And Kenji going to lose his Tasigur here too? What's the other mode Tom chose?
That's a great play by Tom. Ordinarily, being behind on the board, you might be tempted to just get your own Tasigur back, but Tom knew that Kenji just cast Dig Through Time and almost definitely had left a good spell in his hand. So now Tom's done a great job putting himself in a position where if he top decks well, he's gonna have a chance to win this game.
Now he just desperately needs this 2 life.
Yeah, he has to suicide attack his Grandmaster, but I actually believe that Tom is in a better position right now than he was 2 turns ago. All it takes is him just having a good draw step here, and he can actually win.
Isn't this Ojutai's command to put Dragon Speaker into play?
It takes Kenji having a bad draw step, and Tom has the Dispel for Ojutai's command.
Right.
So he needs Kenji to draw land, and then himself to draw something good.
Yeah, Tom's sequence that great. You're right. The Kolaghan's command in particular was the discard 1 mode was important. Dispel cancels out Ojutai's command. Kenji breaks.
That's step 1.
Tom goes under it!
Oh, come on. Ooh. Not necessarily for Tom over Kenji, but I am rooting for a long, exciting game if we can get one.
That's fair. Well, they're now in total top deck mode.
Yeah. Kenji still, got the life advantage. There are a lot of cards that will kill Tom, but Tom's fighting back.
Wow. Man, we've had some great games tonight.
Yeah.
Kolaghan's command is just kill Jace and regrow Tasigur or Soulfire? Tasigur.
Yeah, Tom goes for Tasigur. I think it has the advantage of being able to give Kenji fewer draw steps. I mean, it's tempting to want to get yourself out of burn range, but
Right.
the fact is that if Kenji's drawing the Kolaghan's commands and Crackling Dooms, you're probably just going to lose fair and square anyway, even if you gain a little bit of life.
All right.
Tasigur, on the other hand, gives you a big advantage every turn that it's in play, and will just kill Kenji pretty quickly.
All right. Can Kenji top deck back? Tom has done it. Any burn spell does it. Crackling Doom does it. Wild Slash does it. Tom deciding what to delve. Basically has to decide which cards he does not want to have there with Kenji's deciding on some future Tasigur activation.
Yep. It's the little
Kenji's
things that can
saying, come on, deck.
Oh,
second land in a row.
Wow.
Now, is Tom actually ahead now?
Kenji's
got what?
Close. Yeah, I mean, I guess Tom is probably a small favorite to win this game at this point. I don't really know.
Yeah, it seems pretty close.
It is definitely
activate Tasigur main phase and see what he gets. What is it? Kolaghan's Command, Soulfire Grandmaster?
Yeah.
You give him, wow. And he spills another Soulfire. Two pair.
I like Kenji's play, giving him Kolaghan's Command. You want to keep those burn spells as live top decks to win the game.
Yep. Tasigur hits him for 4. Kenji's got a land in hand, so he can't get Kolaghan's Command in his draw step. Now, can Kenji top deck a burn spell? Or a Mantis Rider?
What an incredible comeback by Tom.
Yes.
I think the key play of this game was when Tom made Kenji discard his Tasigur with the Kolaghan's Command. Really smart use of his cards by Tom. I think that if they had a Tasigur face-off, Kenji was enough ahead both on life total and mana and everything that he probably would have been able to use his Tasigur to find a way to win. But now he's had a string of pretty awful luck, and we don't really know what's going to happen here.
He gets one more draw step, right?
He gets one more draw step, yeah.
Wow. If you look down in Kenji's circle pick over there in the left, he's wearing a Blameworth t-shirt, I promise. Yeah, Tom's just going to deal 2 damage here, right? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, he has to know that almost any non-land card that Kenji could have drawn would be lethal, so, by process of elimination, he's got to have 2 lands in hand. All right, so it just comes down to this final draw step, really.
Pretty much.
Man. I think it's going to be like a fiery impulse just for...
I mean, he's due for a spell at least, right? It's 3 lands in a row since we got here.
So let's see. Do you think he will crack his Polluted Delta? I mean, it would make him dead to a Kolaghan's Commander Crackling Doom, but it does thin the deck a little bit. I guess now that Tom's tapped out, you probably should crack the Delta. Just,
Agreed.
Well, actually, that's not true because he cast Dig Through Time, so he knows his bottom 5 cards. So it just depends what they are.
Wow. That does it.
Holy cow.
Worth was there for him when he needed it.
Kenji sure likes to keep it interesting.
Rider, off the top of the deck.
He likes to make us sweat.
Brick. Win the game. Wow. Now we can see what these guys sideboard. I love this shot. Yeah, we got the sideboards and the decks.
Oh yeah, this is cool. So Tom's on the right there. Yep. I saw the first thing he did was move that Sarkhan to the sideboard, which is an interesting play. I mean, I could see arguments both ways. In general, I think expensive cards are a bit risky here because the matchup can often be pretty, I want to say tempo based, but that's not exactly what I mean. I'm trying to say is that every mana is so precious in this matchup that a turn where you tap out for expensive spell and get a disdainful stroked can be kind of backbreaking. So,
Sure.
I think you'll see these players err on the side of more cheap spells, although Kenji looks like he's going for at least one copy of Dragonlord Silumgar, just as a way to go over the top. Both players have exert influences. Randy, sounds like you're still reeling from
I am. That was fun.
that game one there.
I love a good top deck.
Both players keeping their Jaces and plenty of answers to Jace. Both players keeping their Mantis Riders. And it looks like Tom has taken out his Soulfire Grandmasters. Kenji is at least thinking about leaving them in.
Interesting. How much experience do you have with the Jeskai? Did you mostly play Esper Control leading up to the Pro Tour?
No, I played a healthy amount with the Jeskai deck and thought it was quite good. I'm not a master with it or anything, but I know the basics.
Most of the team played Jeskai, right? Anybody else play your list?
No, it was only me playing Esper. Gabriel Nassif played this really cool black-green sacrifice deck that
right.
He said he wished he had just a little bit more time to test it because he saw a lot of potential in the archetype. I
actually saw him streaming earlier today playing that deck.
Yeah, he loves it. He's having a lot of fun with that deck. And then Yelger Vigersma played white-green Megamorph and did pretty well with that also.
Got it. All right, on to game 2. Kenji is up a game. The winner will take on Owen Turtenwald for spot in the Super League Championships. After this game, by the way, round 3 and 4, we will go to the other side of the bracket, where there are 2 different Rally the Ancestor decks. So
that'll be exciting. A lot of decks that I'm curious to see in action, and I don't know how they're going to match up against one another. That side of the bracket's going to be, well, I mean, we've had some great games here, but that side of the bracket's going to be like for, the fireworks.
Yeah, no, they're coloring outside the lines on the other side of the bracket. None of this like Jeskai and Esper stuff. It's Bant tokens, Rally the Ancestors, a different Rally the Ancestors deck. Both four color, but Luis and Lee are off by like a dozen cards from each other.
So Kenji's gone down to 5 cards here. I caught a glimpse of his 7-card hand. It was just a super unexciting 5 lands, Fiery Impulse, Soulfire Grandmaster hand, which is would be agonizing if I opened up on a hand like that. Normally, I'm not opposed to keeping a 5-land 2-spell hand, but those in particular are pretty, low power spells that are not really going to help you come back from having a slow start. I didn't see. I think his 6-card hand had like 2 dig through times and was pretty clunky, and he's been.
It wasn't there long
to go down to here to 5 here.
So mull to 5 and get duressed on turn 1.
Yeah, although if you take a look, both players are just going to have the same spells here. Like if, let's say, for example, Tom takes the duress, it's just going to be an exact mirror where Tom has 2 extra lands.
Right. What do you take if you're Tom? Do you take the duress? Do you take the command?
So I guess the question is, do you want both players to have commands, or do you want neither player to have a command? The nice thing also about leaving Kenji a duress is that you force him to fetch for a swamp or at least a black land. And Kenji doesn't have the mana right now to cast the Kolaghan's command. He's going to need, even if he gets a black-red dual land, he's going to need to draw 1 more.
You're right. He can't make black and red at the same time with his current hand. Yeah, that's got to be an easy duress. I guess most of the time Tom spent there was probably finding someplace to write down the rest of Kenji's hand so he wouldn't forget it.
Yeah, although I mean there would be some arguments for leaving him the duress also, because it really looks like with the texture of Kenji's hand, he's going to want to fetch for a basic mountain this turn. In which case, he wouldn't be casting duress till much later in the game, possibly when it's going to miss. So that was a pretty interesting spot, and I have no idea which play is correct.
Mantis Riders collide into each other. Tom has drawn 2 more lands, so Kenji is now up spells despite his mulligan to 5.
Yeah, so Tom
here
still probably is going to want to make the play of returning Mantis Rider and having Kenji discard. And then they'll probably just trade off Mantis Riders, and it'll be a question of how quickly Kenji can draw black mana, how quickly Tom can draw a non-land card.
Now, if you're Tom, though, do you just do that main phase? He does not know about the Dispel that Kenji drew.
That's a good
but
question.
But he can play around it by doing this command main phase.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 Dispels to worry about, but then there's also the fact that Kenji could play a Jace or something like that. I think, with the information Tom has, it's probably right to wait until end of turn.
There's more Jaces.
You also disguise your own hand a little bit. Like, now, Kenji's in a tough spot because he could be afraid of Ojutai's command. Does he want to wait till he has a 4th land for Dispel backup? It's, I like Tom's play of waiting for sure. But I also, on the other hand, like Kenji's play of going for it. I think
I do too.
You want to be bold.
You mulligan to 5, right? You haven't seen your opponent's hand. You got to just go for it. You have to kind of get lucky and have your opponent be on six lands this game if you're going to win with a mull of 5.
Mm-hmm. I think when you put a card like Mantis Rider in your deck, you want to take the opportunities for the easy Mantis Rider wins. You're not putting Mantis Rider in your deck so that you can wait until turn 8 and protect it with a counter spell and blah, 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 blah. You're putting Mantis Rider in your deck so you can cast it on turn 3 and your opponent can be dead,
Makes sense to me. Tom does get back the Mantis Rider. He makes Kenji discard a card, so Kenji loses the command he can't cast anyway. This all makes sense. Tom is going to presumably slam his Mantis Rider.
Oh, Dragon Master Outcast, a card you like to see when you are this mana flooded.
Indeed.
And the cool thing about the Dragon Master in this matchup is you draw it and it's pretty easy to kill, but then it's there for you for all of your 6 commands to get back and continuously replay and replay and replay. And all it takes is for that card to be in play for 1 turn, and it can pretty much put a stranglehold on the game.
Tom declined to cast it.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision. Maybe he doesn't want to leave it vulnerable to a shock.
But you let Kenji untap and play Ojutai's command mana.
Yeah, it's going to work out poorly for Tom. But there are plenty of reasons why he would want to wait.
Crazy. All right, well, Tom goes for the Dragon Master Outcast now that he's got 6 lands. But there's the Ojutai's command. Kenji chose draw a card as the other mode, found an island.
Wow, Kenji's in a great spot now, having basically the perfect answer for any card that Tom could draw, Dispel for a non-creature and Ojutai's command for a creature.
Wow. Tom has to just go for Tassie here. And Ojutai's command is Kenji's right back in. He's even on card advantage now, right? Gets to draw.
Yeah, I mean, Kenji's actually way ahead in this game. Because Tom has more cards, but he's just drawn way too many lands, and they're mostly useless.
Crazy. Tom has to feel decent about being able to Tasker with 4 mana untapped, but it's not going to feel good when there's no Ojutai's command.
He'll feel good about it for about 2 seconds here. But the Ojutai's command is definitely the perfect answer.
Man, the turn where he waited on the Outcast was gigantic, because what Kenji has not drawn is a way to kill that Dragon Master outcast. If Tom had just played it on the turn where he drew it and smashed the two Mantis Riders into each other, it would still be in play and it would be making dragons.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
I wonder if, like, was that a misclick? You think he was saving it for... I don't know what he was saving it for. Kenji gets the extra card there. It's a Soulfire Grandmaster. Now he's got a creature. He can even set up buyback for the Dispel if he gets another turn.
That's true. So this is going to be a big draw step for Tom then. If he has a brick and then finds an answer later, it might be too late because of the spell coming back.
Chad can't imagine. Tom has misclicked on Super League before. Tom tends to do other things at the same time he plays Magic Online.
Yeah, while I think that all things considered, he probably should have cast the Dragon Master Outcast, there are definitely some strategic reasons why you'd want to wait. And I don't necessarily think that it was an error on Tom's part.
Yeah, it's only
it was just a judgment call that worked out poorly.
Man.
Yuck.
1 mana. Dispel with buyback online. Kenji is just winning from every angle. Off a mull to 5, too. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of dismisses are a good way to come back from a mulligan.
Yeah,
so
and Tom has seen enough.
Nice
Active
work.
Tasker, active Soulfire Grandmaster, and Numot the Nummy.
Yeah, nice job, Kenji.
Kenji.
I thought Tom played game 1 very, very well, but things just didn't work out for him. But yeah, I mean, that was a cool match to watch, and nice job to Kenji.
Let's throw the bracket up real quick, make sure people know where we're at, what's going on for Kenji, for Owen, and for the other side of the bracket.
So Kenji will have to make it through one more Jeskai mirror against Owen if he wants to qualify.
Precisely. So there's 2 spots left in the Super League Championship, which is going to start next week, by the way. 12 people. It'll be 3 groups of 4, feeding a top 6 playoff. So 10 people have qualified already. 2 people from tonight are going to go through. The winner of Owen and Kenji will get one of those qualification spots. But before they play, we're going to turn our attention to the other side of the bracket. It'll be Li Shitian and David Williams up in the next match. Luis is going to come into the booth and be joined by Kenji. That should be a fun match to watch.
Yeah, can't wait.
Luis versus Gerard in the last first-round match before those winners play for the other spot. Awesome. Well, Reed, it's been fun commentating with you. I'm sorry you won't get to play the next round. The match against Owen was super fun to watch, though. Just 2 great players.
Yeah,
really
fun to play as well.
Yeah,
and thanks for having me.
I know the fans wanted to hear from you. They voted you in, so. Stay tuned out there, guys. We will be right back with more matches.